Welcome, Spiritual Mag. My name is Sam Bell. Today we are going to imagine calibrated conduits. Yes, inside you now. Calibrated conduits. Meta-linguistic frequencies of healing, vision, and revelation. My focus aims to reveal the suppressed historical context surrounding the Davidic lineage of Jesus the Messiah, tracing its Western preservation through the Desposyni and exploring how this lineage intersects with contemporary narratives of Pleiadian contact. By employing the tools of linguistic discernment, historical scrutiny, and philosophical reflection, we uncover how these intertwined legacies not only shape our understanding of the human condition and its evolving cosmic context, but also underscore the importance of recognizing silenced histories and sacred legacies. With over 4 decades of experience as a speech and language pathologist, I bring unique perspective to this study. My work involving decoding the subtle nuances in human communication, from children with apraxia to nonverbal hospice patients on the edge of life. This experience shapes my understanding of the Davidic lineage and its history. Much of what shapes us lies not just in what is said, but in what is left unsaid. In the study of history, silence can be a diagnostic tool. Absence can be a form of language, and in the context of history, erasure often speaks louder than preservation. Understanding these aspects of silence and absence can lead to profound insights into the hidden history of the Davidic lineage. Despite the fall of Jerusalem in 70 AD and the destruction of the Second Temple, the Roman Empire's violent campaign to sever the cultural and spiritual infrastructure of the Jewish people did not succeed in erasing the royal line of David, the bloodline from which Jesus of Nazareth emerged. Just as the human voice finds new pathways when traditional speech fails, so too did the lineage of Jesus forge unbroken continuities hidden in plain sight. This resilience and determination, evident in the survival of the Davidic lineage, serves as a testament to their spirit and inspire us in our spiritual awakening. My focus sheds light on what remains in the whispers and fragments, the direct heirs of the Jesus bloodline, the preserved Davidic legacy, and the esoteric traditions that connect this heritage to the current claims of interstellar communication, particularly with the Pleiadians, higher consciousness beings who are in subtle contact with Earth. The historical records we possess are rarely innocent. Much like a patient post-stroke who develops compensatory speech patterns, Rome reconstituted Jewish and early Christian identities through selective memory. The Flavian emperors, who presided over the suppression of the Jewish uprisings, understood the political power of religious narrative. Under their reign, Christianity began a process of imperial domestication, evolving from a movement rooted in Messianic Jewish hope into a Greco-Romanized institutional faith. It was in this context that ecclesiastical authorities, especially the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD, began to sideline and suppress the Davidic line, the family of Jesus. As Eusebius of Caesarea, the early church historian, reported, the relatives of Jesus were known and recognized well into the 4th century. They were called the Desposyni, literally, quote, those who belong to the master, unquote. These were not metaphorical brothers and sisters in faith. They were direct biological descendants, descended from the same genealogical tree traced in both Matthew and Luke's Gospels. And yet, these heirs were excluded from the emerging episcopal structure. The authority of Peter was emphasized, not that of James the Just, Jesus' brother and the first bishop of Jerusalem. As Roman Christianity consolidated its power, it rejected the living Davidic bloodline in favor of ecclesiastical apostolic succession. This rejection of the Davidic line was a significant event, marking the moment when the spoken word replaced the residing family and the suppression of the living Davidic bloodline began. Despite Rome's best efforts, the Davidic bloodline did not vanish. Oral tradition, protected archives, and sacred memory preserved the genetic lineage. Following the Roman devastation, members of Jesus' family and their close followers fled eastward and westward. Some migrated to Nabatean and Syrian territories, where the traditions of the Essenes and Nazarenes groups connected with the apocalyptic and healing communities continued. Others went west, crossing into Hellenic and later Frankish lands where they merged with local populations while maintaining a carefully guarded genetical record. Legends preserved in the early and British ecclesiastical lore recount the arrival of, quote, Holy Family, unquote, in Gaul. Figures such as Mary Magdalene, Lazarus, and Joseph of Arimathea became foundational saints of Provence and Glastonbury. These narratives parallel the long-standing tradition of the bloodline's westward journey. In linguistic terms, this is akin to a dialect finding fertile ground far from its origin, where it integrates with the local idiom while preserving its unique features. Notably, the preservation of the Davidic heritage wasn't merely biological. It was cognitive, it was spiritual, and it was conscious. The Davidic legacy transcended genetics. It became a state of awareness, a custodianship of light, resonance, and responsibility, inspiring generations to uphold its sacredness and feel connected to a higher order of existence. From my perspective, the human body is not merely a vessel. It is an expressive organ, especially in Hebraic tradition. The body of the Messiah was not simply a sacrifice. It was a conduit. It was a conduit for divine consciousness. In Greek philosophy, logos, the word, was abstract and eternal. But in Jewish theology, davar, word or thing, was embodied. Thus, the Davidic bloodline was not merely a matter of DNA, but the transmissible consciousness. The Davidic line became stewards of a sacred language, not just Hebrew or Aramaic, but the meta-linguistic frequencies of healing, vision, and revelation. The therapeutic implications are profound, offering hope that the re-emergence of this lineage can reawaken dormant truths within the collective soul. It is in this context where biological legacy and conscious resonance intertwine that the contact narratives with the Pleiadians are situated. As reported by many contactees and spiritual traditions, Pleiadian beings are described as humanoid entities of high vibrational frequency with a vested interest in the evolution of human consciousness. Far from mere aliens in the conventional sense, they are portrayed as kin, perhaps ancestral or even co-creative species that seeded aspects of human DNA. In these narratives, bloodline and consciousness are not at odds. They are synergistic. They are synergistic, fostering a sense of unity. No kidding. The line of David, in this light, were not simply genetic heirs, but calibrated conduits, individuals whose biogenetic and psychospiritual constitution allowed for higher ordered communication and communion. Just as a stroke patient may suddenly regain speech when exposed to music therapy, perhaps human species, under the guidance of these interstellar allies, can restore access to modes of perception long suppressed by trauma and institutional amnesia. Many Pleiadian transmissions emphasize the reactivation of the Christos frequency within human DNA. This Christos is not a single historical figure, but a frequency, a consciousness signature embedded in the human genome. The Davidic line represents a living thread of this entangled frequency holding space for its reawakening in others. What then does it mean to reclaim the Davidic legacy in the 21st century? Historically, it means revisiting the records with eyes trained to detect erasure. Though constrained by imperial loyalty, preserved enough to reconstruct a lineage of light. Other sources, such as the recognitions of Clement, apocryphal Gospels, and Eastern Christian traditions, contain further fragments. So visiting the historical records. Linguistically, reawakening it means listening to the silences. Much like a patient who communicates through eye movement when words fail, we must learn to read suppressed history, not as absence, but as an eloquent presence. Philosophically, it means challenging the Platonic division of flesh and spirit. The Davidic line story emphasizes that the body matters, that the lineage can be sacred, and that entangled spiritual inheritance may be passed through blood and belief. Cosmologically, it requires us to transcend planetary isolation. Hello. The Pleiadian connection is not a fringe curiosity, but a call to cosmic kinship. Loved one, it's a reminder that Earth is not alone in its evolutionary journey. In my decades of working with traumatically injured and the dying, I've seen many patients reclaim long suppressed truths in their final days, truths spoken with a clarity that surpasses syntax. Sometimes a single word whispered through dry lips contains a life's worth of wisdom. So too with the Davidic line. Their presence in the historical record is minimal, often footnoted or discredited, yet their significance is immense. They represent a continuity that Rome tried to erase, a language of sacred legacy that the institutional church sought to suppress, and a bridge to the stars that modern science has yet to fully recognize. In understanding them, we do not simply look back, we awaken to our present purpose and our future trajectory. As advanced students of consciousness, let us then become, in our own right, descendants of the family of David, the royal line of David, the bloodline from which Jesus of Nazareth and those who belong to the Master frequency, not by blood alone, but by resonance, intention, and love. You and all your loved ones are always in my prayers. Samuel Joseph Bell, civilian journalist, spiritualmag.org.